Hello everyone. In this lecture video, I will be discussing the respiratory system with a particular focus in farm animals. So, just a little bit of introduction. When you hear the word respiration, you probably think of just breathing in and out, but respiration is actually so much more than that. And it's about fueling life itself because the oxygen we breathe in powers growth, milk, and egg production, and the carbon dioxide being breathed out by animals prevents the body from poisoning itself. So let's start with the functions of the respiratory system. The main function of the respiratory system is gas exchange. And when we say gas exchange, this is taking in oxygen to the body and removing carbon dioxide or eliminating carbon dioxide from the body. That is the main job of the respiratory system. The three other functions of the respiratory system are secondary. So we have here thermoregulation. When we say thermoregulation, that is the body's ability to keep its temperature within a normal range, even if the outside environment is hot or cold. So we have here, farm animals regulate their body temperature through panting and air sac ventilation. When we say panting, this is rapid, shallow breathing, or kapag hinihingal yung hayop, that's what you call panting. And that is the animal's way of cooling themselves down. That's the way animals regulate their temperature. And then we have here air sac ventilation. When we say air sac ventilation, that is the way birds move air through their lungs and air sacs to get oxygen. So speaking of air sacs, this is how the air sacs look like. So unlike mammals like cattle, carabao, sheep, goat, and pigs, birds don't just breathe in and out with one tidal flow, but they use a system of these air sacs to keep air moving in one direction through the lungs. And then we have another vocalization. When we say vocalization, it is simply the ability to produce sound using the respiratory system, especially using the larynx or what we commonly call the voice box. Voice box. And then olfaction or smell. So air carries odorants or odor molecules into the nasal cavity or into the olfactory epithelium so that animals can detect food, mates, or even predators. So the respiratory system is not just about gas exchange, or it's not just about taking in of oxygen and removing carbon dioxide, but also about survival, comfort, and communication. Next, we discuss the major structures of the respiratory system, starting first with the upper respiratory tract. This is actually the gateway and filter system of the body. So first, we have the nostrils, or technically we call these nares. Nostrils are the entry doors or external openings. They are lined with hairs and mucosa. These hairs and mucosa trap dust. They trap dust or filter large particles, preventing entry into the other parts of the respiratory system. So it's just like a sticky doormat, catching dirt before you enter house. So speaking of the nostrils, these are the different structures of nostrils for the different farm animals. So this is for the horse, the ox or the cattle, sheep, pig, and the dog. So this is not a farm animal, but just for comparison, the reference included it. And this is the nostrils or nares of chickens, and this is the nostrils of ducks. Next is the nasal cavity. This space is divided down the middle by what we call a structure called septum. When we say septum, it's the wall inside the nose or inside the nostril that divides it into two passages. So one passage and another passage here, one passage and then another here. So if you've seen people do nose contouring in makeup, the line that they draw, here one in here, the line they draw down the center is right above where the septum is. So for farm animals, for cattle, for example, for ox, they have a broad, malawak na nasal septum, which makes their nostrils or nares very wide. That is why cattle or ox can take in large volumes of air, no, which is very useful when they need to cool down themselves under heat stress. And farmers notice this when cattle flare their nostrils, ginagalaw nila yung kanilang nostrils during exercise or also during excitement. In the case of sheep and goat, they have a narrower septum compared to cattle, obviously. This gives them smaller nostrils, but they're still efficient for grazing animals that breathe while chewing. And then for pigs, they have a strong cartilaginous yung kanilang septum, which supports their unique snout. No? This is why yung mga pigs, ginagamit nila yung nose nila for rooting. When we say rooting, yung kapag sinusubsub nila yung kanilang snout sa ground, and for digging also. So their septum acts like a stiff support for them during those activities. And then here we have in chickens and ducks, so poultry. So this is for poultry naman. They don't have a fleshy nose just like mammals, but instead, their nostrils or their nares are small openings at the base of the book. Meron pa rin silang septum inside, but hindi siya masyadong kita externally, no? And then, very important, inside the nasal cavity, merong mga tinatawag na turbinates. And these turbinates ay parang ganito yung itsura. So in pigs, ito yung turbinates. By the way, yung septum, going back doon sa septum, ito yung septum that divides the nasal cavity into two passages. One passage and then another passage. So turbinates, these are small curved bones. Small curved bones, small curved bones, small curved bones. And their job is to make air swirl around as it passes through the respiratory system, as it passes through the nasal cavity. Bakit kailangang swirl ang air? So that it spends more time touching the inner lining of the nasal cavity so that para malinisan and ma-prepare siya better before passing through the next parts or other parts of the respiratory system. And dito sa nasal cavity, meron siyang lining na may ciliated mucosa. So this is a ciliated mucosa. Ciliated referring to cilia. Cilia means hair-like structures. And merong mucus. So the purpose of the lining or the layer of the nasal cavity is para ma-constantly move yung air and to sweep dust, the cilia or the hair-like structures, hair-like projections, ma-sweep yung dust and the mucus backward. Backward, pabalik, outside, no? So that hindi natin mai-inhale or hindi mai-inhale ng hayop kung anumang dirt and debris na pumasok sa nostrils. So that hindi siya papasok doon sa lungs, passing through the other passages. Now, one important job of the nasal cavity is warming. It warms, humidifies, and filters air. So bakit wina-warm pa muna ang air bago pumasok sa lungs? The air gets heated to near body temperature so that when it reaches the lungs, it doesn't shock the delicate tissues of the lungs. So think about breathing in on a very cold morning. Yung cold air can sting, correct? So animals are protected from that cold air effect because the nasal cavity or the nasal cavity warms the air muna before going into the lungs. So when the weather gets cold or turns cold, the nose works overtime para ma-warm and ma-humidify pa yung air. Because cold air irritates yung nose lining. That's the reason why our body responds with a sneeze. Kaya tayo bumabahing kapag malamig yung panahon because nai-irritate yung mga nerve endings present sa nasal cavity. No? And then another, bakit kailangang i-humidify yung air bago pumasok sa lungs? Para pag sinabing humidify, ini-steam yung air. So the reason why we steam is to pick up moisture in the nasal cavity to prevent the lungs from drying out. Because dry air could irritate yung alveoli. So, alveoli ay mga maliliit na parang mga balloons doon sa loob ng lungs. No? Kasi kung ma-irritate yung mga alveoli, hindi magiging effective yung gas exchange. It is in the alveoli where gas exchange happens. So, we will discuss that alveoli in detail little later. Kailangang ma-warm ang air bago pumasok sa lungs. Kailangang ma-humidify para maiwasan yung dry air na papasok sa lungs because that irritates the alveoli. And then, syempre, it filters the air, especially with the aid of ciliated mucosa para maiwan yung mga dirt at saka mga debris that could irritate the lungs. And then, next, we have the pharynx. Pharynx is a muscular tube shared by respiratory and digestive systems. In other words, it is a shared hallway or common passageway, common daanan ng food and air. So para siyang busy intersection which guides the food down the esophagus. So here, this is where the pharynx is located. There are 3 sections of the pharynx, but we will just focus on the pharynx as a whole, no? So it guides the food down the esophagus and air toward the larynx. And dito sa pharynx, meron tayong structure na tinatawag na epiglottis. This epiglottis ay tumutulong para maiwasan na pumasok ang food sa larynx and maiwasan yung food na pumasok sa sa larynx. And then maiwasan yung air na pumasok sa esophagus para maiwasan na magkabaliktad. So nagko-close ang epiglottis. So parang gate ang epiglottis. The epiglottis closes. Piniprevent niya na pumunta yung food doon sa larynx. And piniprevent niya yung food na pumunta sa esophagus kapag ikaw ay huminga. Kaya if you try, you cannot eat and breathe air at the same time. No, because of the function of the epiglottis. Now, the larynx is the voice box. Your voice box, the reason why you can produce sound or you can vocalize is because of your functioning larynx. It's a cartilaginous structure, meaning to say it's firm but flexible. It contains vocal cords. It also has epiglottis which guards the entrance. Kasi nga magkatabi sila ng pharynx. And yung epiglottis na mention ko kanina na para siyang lid or gate that closes when we swallow so that food doesn't go into the larynx and into the trachea or into the respiratory system. Yan. Next, trachea or trachea or your windpipe. It's a tube with C-shaped cartilage rings. Ito siya. Ito yung, by the way, ito yung voice box natin. This is the larynx. So, trachea or trachea is the windpipe. It's a tube with C-shaped cartilage rings. Ito, yung mga cartilage rings, yan. Yan, yung mga parang half circle. Ganyan. Yan yung mga cartilage rings na sinasabi. Ito din yung mga cartilage rings. This is your trachea. And then another one, trachea. Okay. It is lined also with ciliated epithelium. So, it's like a vacuum hose that it's like a vacuum hose with yung mga cartilage rings or stiff rings para hindi siya magko-collapse. So, yung mga cartilage rings present doon sa trachea keeps the airway open para makadaan yung hangin. So, it conducts air to bronchi, meaning to say ng conducts is it's a passageway. Dinadaanan ito ng air papunta sa other parts of the respiratory system, so the lower parts of the respiratory tract, which are your bronchi, bronchioles, and then papunta sa alveoli, and of course, doon sa lungs. It traps and moves debris outward with the aid of the cilia present sa kanyang epithelium or sa epithelial surface. Now, let's proceed to the lower respiratory tract. So inside the chest or what we call thorax, we have the lower respiratory structures. First, we have the bronchi. Bronchi are branches of trachea. We have the primary bronchi, secondary, and tertiary bronchi. Bronchi, this is the plural form. Bronchus if it's singular. So since we have many branches, we call it bronchi. These are like highways, no, that branch from the trachea into the lungs. From the trachea into the lungs. Primary bronchi, secondary. So this is the trachea, then primary bronchi, secondary. And then habang produce ng branches, lumiliit yung kanyang size. Nagba-branch out siya into bronchioles. So these are just passageways, bronchi and bronchioles. Nagiging smaller yung branches, wala na siyang cartilage at this time, smooth muscle na ang itsura. What do these structures do? They regulate airflow resistance. No? Pag sinabi nating airflow resistance, it just means how hard or how easy it is for air to move through the airways. So from wider hanggang sa nagiging narrower na ito. Para may spread. So bakit pa hindi bakit hindi pa isang tube na lang ang bronchus or bronchi para ma-distribute to the different parts of the lungs. No. Kasi malaki ang size ng lungs. So to distribute to the different parts of the lungs, to distribute air, oxygen, kailangan na marami ang nagbe-branch out. So we have here different branches of the bronchi branching in, which is nagiging bronchioles na dumidiretso sa alveoli. No? It directs air to alveoli. Now, speaking of alveoli, these are tiny air sacs. Para siyang tiny or little balloons na merong mga nagsusurround na capillaries. Yan. So, it's mga tiny, small balloons na may mga capillaries na nakapaligid. Remember your capillaries. Capillaries is, yan yung smallest blood vessels. And remember also that the function of your capillaries is for exchange of gases, nutrients, etc. So, dito nangyayari ang gas exchange. Yung gas exchange is, of course, oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide leaves the blood. So, once again, bakit may mga capillaries sa alveoli? Kasi dito nangyayari ang gas exchange. So, they are just tiny sacs, tiny balloons at the very end of our lungs. Next. Meron tayong term dito na surfactant. Why do alveoli contain surfactant? Yung mga alveoli kasi natin ay parang tiny, moist, or wet balloons. So normally, water molecules sa surface nila would pull together, causing surface tension. No? And this causes yung mga alveoli na mag-collapse if there is water tension or surface tension rather. And so, ang purpose ng surfactant, by the way, is a special fatty protein substance. So, yung surfactant siya yung nagko-coat sa inside ng alveoli para ma-reduce yung surface tension, which prevents the alveoli to collapse. Next, we have the lungs. These are paired, lobed organs, protected or encased in pleura. Pleura, it's a double-layered membrane na merong pleural fluid between layers. Ito yung lungs and yung pleura, yan yung nagwo-work para ma-reduce yung friction kapag tayo ay humihinga. And it also helps maintain lung expansion smoothly. Okay, para smooth yung ating breathing. And I would like to emphasize, by the way, lungs are the main organs for respiration. So speaking of lungs, ito yung different structure of the lobes of the lungs of the different farm animals. So this is for sheep. This is how it looks like. This is for horse. This is for sheep, ox, or cattle. And then we have the pig. Next, physiology of respiration. So when we say respiration, that is just simple as breathing. And the more technical term for breathing or respiration is pulmonary ventilation. And it could be by the way, when we say breathing, it's just the movement of air in and out of the lungs. It is driven by the diaphragm. Yan, diaphragm. If you remember our muscular system, we mentioned diaphragm as one of the muscles involved in respiration. We also have intercostal muscles. We also mentioned that. And there are two types of breathing. inhalation or inspiration, this is when the diaphragm contracts and moves down. So, bumababa yung diaphragm and nagko-contract. When we inhale, what happens is, dito, mas maganda dito, because this is the resting phase, no? When we inhale, what happens is, the rib cage, yan, nag-expand. That's why the arrows are pointing outward because the rib cage expands para makapasok ang air. Yan. Once again, when we inhale, when there is inhalation, diaphragm contracts and diaphragm descends or moves down. Nag-expand yung rib cage para pumasok ang hangin. And then, when we exhale or when we expire air, the diaphragm relaxes or the diaphragm ascends, going back to its original position, yung rib cage, the rib cage falls, and air rich in carbon dioxide is pushed out. So, once again, bumababa, nagko-contract ang diaphragm, and then yung rib cage nag-expand para maka-take in, maka-inhale ng air sa lungs. And then kapag tayo ay nag-exhale, expire air, what happens is bumabalik. The diaphragm relaxes, the rib cage falls, and the air rich in carbon dioxide is pushed out from the lungs. Okay. Now we have here a table showing the normal resting respiration rate by species of farm animals. We have cattle, that's 10 to 30 breaths per minute, no? And then that's for beef, 18 to 28 for dairy cattle, sheep and goats, 12 to 20, swine, 8 to 18, horses, 8 to 16. So notice how smaller ruminants like sheep and goats breathe faster than larger animals like cattle and horses, no? And for poultry species, they normally breathe around 20 to 40 per minute. Kasi because they have an efficient air sac. So ito ay air sac ng mga poultry species, tumutulong sila because of their higher metabolic rate compared to these larger animals. And bakit importante that we know the normal resting respiration rate of species? Because farmers and veterinarians check this respiration rate as a one way of checking their health. It's a quick health test. If an animal is breathing much faster or slower than normal, that could signal something. That could signal disease or that could signal heat stress. So, yan. We have to memorize these ranges of respiration rate or breaths per minute ng mga species so that we know kung mataas na masyado or mababa. Now, let's zoom back in on gas exchange or the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And this is the very heart of the respiratory system, the main job of the respiratory system. Okay? So this is how oxygen gets to the different tissues of the body and how carbon dioxide is removed. No. So gas exchange is tightly linked to blood pH regulation. Normally, the body keeps blood pH in a very narrow range, which is just around 7.35 to 7.45. And when too much carbon dioxide builds up sa ating system, it reacts with water in the blood to form carbonic acid, which makes the blood more acidic. Kaya nagkakaroon ng respiratory acidosis. We do not want that. We do not want na maraming carbon dioxide na nagbi-build up sa blood kasi nagkukos siya ng respiratory acidosis. Now, when there is respiratory acidosis or simply acidosis, ang nangyayari sa hayop is there is rapid or labored breathing, nahihirapan siyang huminga, there is panting because the animal is trying to blow off excess carbon dioxide from its body. Another, the animal gets weak, confused, or lethargic. And in severe cases, kapag hindi na kaya ng system, there's trembling, nagko-collapse, or even death if not corrected. Ayaw, kasi nga too much carbon dioxide in the blood or in the body is not normal. Okay? On the other hand, kapag naman sobra ang carbon dioxide na nare-release or na-exhale ng hayop, the blood becomes alkaline. Pag masyadong marami ang na-exhale, what you see is muscle twitching, nagkakaroon ng muscle twitching or stiffness, dizziness, nahihilo or disoriented naman sa hayop or sa tao. But sa hayop, we see restlessness. Another, reduced performance because enzymes do not work well outside the normal pH. So, it's very important to maintain homeostasis. Ayaw natin ng sobrang carbon dioxide doon sa blood and ayaw din natin ng very kulang na carbon dioxide sa blood. Another, it is tightly linked also to cellular respiration. Once oxygen reaches the tissues, it fuels yung tinatawag natin na cellular respiration. When we say cellular respiration, this is just the process by which cells convert glucose na galing sa kinakain nila into energy. And yung oxygen na ini-inhale natin acts like the spark that allows yung glucose na ma-burn completely na maging energy, carbon dioxide, and water. So if there's enough oxygen inhaled by the animals, maraming mapoproduce or makakreate na ATP or energy. If there is kulang na oxygen, yung cells ng katawan magsuswitch sa anaerobic respiration. Pag sinabing anaerobic, walang oxygen. And when there is anaerobic respiration, kulang ang ATP na ma-produce. So ang instead na ma-produce is lactic acid. And yung lactic acid, it leads to muscle fatigue. Muscle fatigue, stiffness, na-overwork, especially yung mga na-overwork na mga hayop. Example, yung kalabaw ninyo. Kapag yung kalabaw na-overwork, mangyayari nagkakaroon ng muscle fatigue, muscle stiffness because kulang yung oxygen na ini-inhale, insufficient yung oxygen. Therefore, yung kanyang body magsuswitch into anaerobic respiration na nagpo-produce ng lower ATP na nagko-convert or gumagawa ngayon na ng lactic acid. Kaya yung lactic acid na naiipon ay nagre-result sa muscle fatigue tsaka stiffness. And therefore, ano ang mangyayari? Mare-reduce ngayon, bumababa yung productivity. And if that becomes severe, kapag severe yung oxygen shortage, nagkakaroon ng organ damage and death. No? Kaya oxygen is it's not just about breathing. It's not simple as breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide. Yung gases na yon, yung oxygen, it's a fuel that keeps the power plants of each of our cells running. So, that is what I would like to emphasize on. Another gas exchange is tightly linked to energy production. So, na-mention ko na ito dito sa cellular respiration. Oxygen is very important because everything that animals do, everything that we do, from growing, from working, to producing milk, eggs, meat, lahat yon nagre-require ng energy. And kailangan natin ng oxygen para makapag-produce ng energy yung ating mga cells. So for example, a dairy cow needs oxygen to power the cells in her mammary system that produces milk. A laying hen needs oxygen to fuel egg production. Broilers, fattening pigs need oxygen to build muscle tissue efficiently. So kung mababa ang supply ng oxygen or limited ang supply ng oxygen, feed efficiency or yung gaano kagaling na gamitin ng hayop yung feeds na kinakain niya, bumababa yung efficiency. Okay. So kumakain pa rin yung hayop, animals will still eat, but they won't convert that feed na kinakain nila into growth or production effectively. For example, mainit doon sa kanilang housing. So kumakain pa rin sila, but they won't convert that feed na kinakain nila efficiently into muscle, into growth, or into milk production, egg production effectively. Okay. And so that ends our discussion for the respiratory system. Remember that the respiratory system is not just about air moving in and out, it's about keeping blood chemistry balance or in homeostasis, stable, static, powers every cell's energy factories, and supporting the growth and productivity we depend on agriculture. That's why respiration literally fuels life. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and I hope you learned something.